around 26,000 years ago, during the coldest period of the last glacial maximum. Much of northern Europe, North America, and northern Asia lay beneath massive ice sheets. In many places, temperatures were far colder than anything most people experience today. Winds swept across open landscapes with almost nothing to stop them. Imagine standing there. No heated home, no boots, no supermarket, just snow stretching to the horizon. For most animals, surviving meant growing thicker fur or storing fat. Humans couldn't do either very well. We weren't the strongest. We weren't the fastest. And compared to woolly mammoths, musk oxen, or reindeer, we looked completely unprepared. So why didn't we disappear? That's the mystery. For years, archaeologists wondered exactly how small groups of humans managed to survive in places that seemed almost impossible to live in. Then the evidence began to appear. At sites across Europe and Siberia, researchers uncovered ancient fireplaces buried beneath layers of frozen soil, charcoal, burned animal bones, stone tools blackened by heat. These weren't accidents. They were homes, temporary ones. Every fire told the same story. Someone had stopped here. Someone had stayed alive. But fire alone couldn't solve the biggest problem. Here's the thing. A blizzard doesn't just make you cold. It steals your body heat every second. Strong winds can make the air feel dramatically colder than the thermometer suggests. Wet clothing freezes. Fingers stop working. Decision-making becomes slower. Even healthy people can become dangerously hypothermic in a surprisingly short time. Your own body starts working against you. And ancient humans knew this, not because they studied science, but because they watched people die. Every winter taught harsh lessons. A family that chose the wrong campsite might never wake up. A hunter who wandered too far into a storm might never return. Children, older adults, and injured tribe members faced the greatest danger of all. Nature wasn't giving second chances. So every mistake became knowledge. Every survivor became a teacher. Over thousands of years, those lessons spread from one generation to the next. Long before anyone could write them down, knowledge became survival. But even with fire and experience, there was still one enormous problem. A campfire can keep you warm. It cannot stop a blizzard. And that's exactly when ancient humans discovered something that changed winter forever. Because the greatest enemy wasn't always the cold. It was the wind. A strong fire can produce plenty of heat. But if freezing air keeps stealing that heat away, even the biggest fire can only do so much. So ancient humans stopped fighting the blizzard directly. Instead, they learned to hide from it. At first, they used whatever nature offered. Rock overhangs, caves, thick forests. Even a small hill could block the strongest winds. That single decision changed everything. Because once the wind disappeared, the very same fire suddenly became far more effective. But natural shelters weren't everywhere. And people couldn't simply wait for the perfect cave to appear. They had to build their own protection. So they began placing large stones around their camps. They stacked logs. They stretched animal hides over wooden frames. They built low shelters that trapped precious, warm air while keeping the icy wind outside. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't easy, but it worked. Here's what makes this so important. These weren't just shelters. They were technology, one of the earliest engineering solutions in human history. Archaeologists have found remarkable evidence of this across Ice Age Europe. At sites like Mezhirek in present-day Ukraine, researchers uncovered homes built from the bones of woolly mammoths. Hundreds of massive bones formed circular walls strong, enough to resist the freezing wind. Animal hides likely covered the outside, creating surprisingly effective winter homes. Think about that. Humans weren't simply surviving the Ice Age anymore. They were reshaping their environment to fit their own needs. And that changed everything. But even the best shelter couldn't solve every problem. You still had to leave it every single day, because no shelter could grow food, no cave could hunt a reindeer, and no fire could magically fill an empty stomach. Sooner or later, someone had to step back into the storm. That changed the way humans dressed. Animal hides were no longer just trophies from a successful hunt. They became essential survival equipment. People learned to scrape hides clean. They softened stiff leather with stone tools. They stitched pieces together using bone needles and animal sinew. Those tiny stitches trapped warm air surprisingly well. Archaeologists have discovered bone needles, dating back tens of thousands of years across Eurasia. Think about that. A small needle may have saved more human lives than many ancient weapons ever did. But clothing wasn't enough either. Here's what makes this so important. Winter didn't just reward strong people. It rewarded prepared people. Hunters began planning every trip more carefully. Families collected firewood long before the first snowfall. Food was dried, smoked, and stored for the months ahead. Children learned survival skills while they were still young. Knowledge spread faster than genes. And that changed everything. Groups that planned ahead survived more winters. More children reached adulthood. More knowledge passed to the next generation. Slowly, humanity stopped reacting to winter. It started preparing for it. And that simple change helped our ancestors expand into places that once seemed impossible to live. The blizzard hadn't become weaker. Humans had simply become smarter. As winters became less terrifying, humans began doing something that had once seemed impossible. They started moving farther north, into colder valleys, across frozen rivers, toward lands that earlier generations would never have dared to enter. The Ice Age hadn't become kinder. People had simply become better prepared. Archaeological discoveries show that humans slowly expanded into some of the harshest environments on Earth, not because they were stronger than nature, but because they learned from it. Every winter left behind new lessons: better shelters, warmer clothing, smarter hunting strategies, safer camps. Each generation inherited thousands of years of survival experience without ever reading a single book. That's what made humans different. A wolf is born knowing how to be a wolf. A reindeer is born knowing how to survive the cold. But humans had to learn and then teach. That ability became our greatest survival tool. Here's what makes this so remarkable. By solving the problem of winter, humans didn't just survive. They unlocked the ability to live almost anywhere on Earth. From frozen tundras, to towering mountains, to forests buried beneath snow. One discovery led to another. Shelters led to warmer families. Warm families raised healthier children. Healthier children became better hunters. Better hunters fed larger tribes. And larger tribes changed the course of human history. Winter was no longer an unbeatable enemy. It had become another challenge that humans learned to overcome.